Hi everyone, it's Adrienne Leah. This is going to be a tarot reading. I'm changing the energy a little bit. I brought out the Pastoral Tarot. I used this deck a lot when I first started doing the Ukrainian videos. I also wanted to show the finished deck bag. I show this on my personal channel too. So this is a deck bag using the chart from the Garden Samplers cow pattern. So this one has one section of flowers and two sections of birds. And then this one has one section of the people and one section of the flowers. So I'm waiting another day to put the cards in here because I washed it, and that's another reason why I don't have the button through the buttonhole, because I was letting it flat to dry. So I'm happy that I have a tarot bag. This is also a little different because I had to stop the video, and then now I have some cards out. So I would like to say that for the Pastoral Tarot, there was one card that was standing out. There's some, like, you don't have to read it like this, but there's some religious references to it. So for the Judgment card, it looks like somebody's getting like a baptism in a river, and then there's the sun that's beaming, and there are the other people that are witnessing the baptism. And there were other cards that I had out that I actually shuffled back in from the Archangel Oracle, and I I don't have them out right now. But there is like an unusual card here because I don't think I've ever had this card before. And I've had this deck for a couple of years. So it's the Overcoming Difficulties, Archangel Jeremiel. The worst is now behind you, and you are now surmounting any previous challenges. So that's super fantastic because it's matched up with another card, which is Spread Your Wings, Archangel Ariel. Don't hold back right now. The timing is perfect. You're ready to soar. So there. And then the chakra clearing, Archangel Metatron. Call upon me to clear and open your chakras using sacred geometric shapes, which is so on point from before I stopped filming, because I was actually talking about geometric shapes and like sacred geometry, because I was like talking about the backs of the cards being having like geometric shapes here, and then there's one card that I talked about that had feathers, but I mentioned geometric shapes, and that was like a card that I got before. So this was one of the cards. I had two cards, goodies. And just to say, the bottom of the deck is Divine Order, Archangel Raguel. Everything is how it needs to be right now. Look past illusion and see underlying order. And sorry, I didn't read this one. Breathe. Oh. Archangel Raphael, take several deep breaths and exhale slowly to awaken your energy to release old patterns. So the two cards that I got before, I'm sorry, I'm just reading now, but I'll get to the reading for the other cards. Nurture Archangel Gabriel. As you nurture a child, you nurture your own inner child. Both activities are important for you right now. And counselor. You're a natural counselor, and many people benefit from your guidance and reassurance. Because I was getting like a group setting, an energy that seemed concentrated, and it felt like the surrounding energies that were they were like beings, and then it was like the energy they were all combining to like lift something, which kind of feels like the Five of Swords in the Glory to Ukraine tarot. So maybe I'll show that one in a little bit. But this one was the one that I was talking about with in the background the being looks like there's feathers or um sacred geometry, even reminiscent of like the descriptions that um and again, if you're not religious, you don't have to take it in a religious way, but it reminds me of like the descriptions that they would give about the angels. And some of them have like multiple eyes, multiple wings, different heads, wheels, um, and specific descriptions. And I was getting that too. Also, with like sacred geometry, and just in general, like linking to math for equations, there can be different paths or some tools or tricks, but you get like one answer. And even the wheels on the back of like the Buckland Romani tarot, there's the wheel here, and it reminded me of something more like mechanical, of having to go through the steps to, how you have like math class, and um, you have certain steps that you get to the answer to. So it was that, and for the most part, that was like catching up to what I was saying in the last video, which wasn't super, super long. And I turned over the first card. The first card was, it looked like reverse Page of Pentacles, just because for the Pastoral Tarot, I turned the deck around to see like what direction are the cards in, because I have all the cards facing one direction, so when I pull them out, they're like that. And even with this card, it looks like they're like the flowers at the bottom, and then like the eyes, like they're kind of like eyes, and like they have the eyes set um for like guidance or like leadership or reassurance, or um even since this is the page and it tends to be maybe like a student or somebody that can be a novice, like somebody that just got into that area, it is one where they're expecting a lot. And there has to do with being able to carry that. And there's a reason why there is a lot of weight on your shoulders. And sometimes it may not be necessary to have that weight, but sometimes you wouldn't have gotten that much weight if you couldn't handle it. Like life wouldn't have given you that much to handle if you couldn't handle it. So the other Page of Pentacles comes from the Buckland Romani. And then with that one, it's the Nine of sorry, Wands. And it looks like kind of if like on the downtime, creating more objects, creating more, kind of reminds me of like fencing or lines of defense in that way. Because I would say that it could have been a weapon, but with the way that the sticks are here, it doesn't look like they're becoming spears or anything. And with the weight, there's also the Two of Cups in, well, from the Glory to Ukraine Tarot with the Moon card that was at the bottom of the deck. Water and water. So that's pretty heavy because the Moon card is a really heavy watery card. And as I say water, there's the Three of Wands that's towards the end because I pulled out 4 cards for the Pastoral Tarot, but then there's the 5th card that was at the bottom of the deck, so that's 5. Because with the Three of Wands, it's a person in a desert. And you can see the cactus where there's that, like a salvation there, because the cacti have water in them, but it can be difficult to get past the prickles. And then the present card is the Six of Swords, which it's already like in a river too. So it almost feels like there's trying to like have a clearance. And with the cattail there, it seems a little timely too. Because there seems to be a little bit of an exchange. The cattails, just from personal eh, significance for me, I feel that like my cats will, like I've said it in other videos, I was about to prepare them to move overseas with me, and then they stay at my godmother's. So one of my godbrother's assistants' families is they really wanted to adopt the cats and asked me to adopt them, which has never happened. Because I have moved a lot over the years, and it's been, one area here, the next minute I'm there. So I have loved them as travel companions. I know they'll have like uh they'll have a life that will include like having family and lots of attention. So it's definitely something that was the biggest thing because the main question was like, um, so you'll love them, right? And the answer is yes. So I was like, okay, that's all I ask. And that was that. So it seems like calm-ish now, but I know towards the end, it's one of those things that you're thinking, this is good, even though it doesn't necessarily feel like it's the happiest emotion, deep, not super deep down, but you know that it's a good thing. Is I was doing that, and I saw my rabbit there too, and my rabbit's an indoor outdoor rabbit, so I didn't have that when I moved, and um, so I was with somebody at the time, and the his family has a backyard, so she was able to be an indoor outdoor rabbit. And although it would have been nice to have her with me, I feel like it was um, a good thing that it was her um, well-being. So some energy is like keeping an eye on things too. And that goes with the nurturing energy, how there's like energy, like nurturing energy in that way. I'm seeing and feeling that. And I'm just turning over the other cards. I heard from the immigration agency that my application is still in the process of being approved. She said it should be approved. So it's the Three of Wands. I'm sorry, Two of Wands. There's also a Three of Wands for the future. So it's going in order as I was saying. So this is from the Slavic Legends Tarot, and this is from the Pastoral Tarot. And with the Two of Wands, it's a field of lavender, which is super amazing. I know that there was this nursery that concentrated like a lot of the nervines or the calmer herbs and plants as you walked to the garden section, the ones that are compatible. And it reminds me of essential oil too. Essential oil tends to be on the more expensive side. It takes a lot of product, a lot of plant to create those small bottles, but they are potent. And the more I use them, the more um, amazed I am at the ways that these plants work. And I was talking about wheels. It's interesting because I have a lot of lavender oil. I was given so much lavender oil, and I'm like, I needed something to lubricate my wheel, my spinning wheel. And I was like, okay, I'll just use this lavender oil since there's just such an immense quantity that I have. Um, it just feels laborious. And then the Five of Swords is actually a card that came out too. There also feels like a little bit of stubborn energy on the other side of this. I will have to point that out because there were a lot of cards and I wasn't pulling out a lot of cards for this. One of them being the King of Wands. Now, the King of Wands was like an interesting energy because the King of Wands, it just feels like in earlier videos for the Ukrainian videos, and anybody can watch these readings, but I remember distinctively there was one specific energy that was like the King of Wands, because I saw the Six of Cups too, so it can be linking to the past where um, there's this person that is pretty reluctant to either move forward. Um, there could be an energy of like being set in their ways. I remember that I was doing a Celtic cross spread, and one of the cards that was being set down is for like the karmic card for why everything's happening. And there was like a counterpart to that too. Now, I see the struggles of something ending, at least mentally, and then it can go really far from there. I've said it in other videos that disciplining the mind, it doesn't have to be with everything. And of course, you could do what you want with that, but um, if you do this, if you discipline your mind, especially with certain areas of your life, it could go a long way. And with different practices or different things that you learn, it could benefit you where those things might not be so difficult to integrate into your daily life because of something that's already regimented. And even though if you're learning something new and it's like, how would it be regimented already? Well, it's that way that you're disciplining yourself and having that set focus on something. Again, it depends what it is. But it just feels like there's a shift. And sometimes there can be having different reactions to trying something new, to being introduced to new areas of your life, where it's more of an adverse reaction where people don't respond well to it. But because it has more of a foundation for accepting those new things, it should be fine. And hopefully, I'm not like dancing around that. And hopefully, it came out correctly. Because I'll start showing those cards and then maybe I'll talk about it in other examples. The Page of Pentacles. I'm sorry, that links to the Page of Pentacles that came out twice. This is the Five of Pentacles. With the obstacle of the Seven of Cups. And how to overcome it, it's the Ten of Swords. Because the overall energy is the Four of Wands, I feel like it links to the Two of Cups. I'm going to say this because maybe that's why I was dancing around the topic, and this was the karma card to go with the King of Wands reading a while back, a couple months back, and it was the Queen of Wands in that position. Like with the stubborn energy, there's a sense of not being able to get past experiences, and I'm really linking it towards like cheating energies because of the Five of Swords there. And the Seven of Cups. So the Five of Swords is an extra card. And it feels like not being completely committed to the cause. It almost feels one foot in, but the second that something feels off, it's like they can't be as damaged because they weren't fully in anyway. Which feels like there is the lack of commitment there too. And when you do that, a lot of times the other person feels the lack of commitment, and then it just cycles around, and you're just because the other person's like, well, if you're not going to give me full commitment, then what am I going to give you in return? So the consequence of that is like them pulling back as well, and then it doesn't really go anywhere. Either that or the person keeps like trying to push it on and it doesn't go anywhere, and then it ends up with either one party especially being hurt or maybe both parties too. So I was thinking about the different ways and the reasons why people would cheat because I was actually watching um, a video. I watch a couple videos, but there's one doctor, it's Dr. Ramani, and she was talking about the game players or the different people that will cheat, and she went off to say before going into that, she was like, it's not the thing to do to like blame the person that got cheated on, that you should have been that the person should have been doing this or should have been doing that. um Cheating is like not necessary. So maybe it could have been vocalized. Again, it's like on an individual basis on the things that maybe they weren't happy about, um, the way that they communicated, the way that they went on with their lives, like their daily lives. There's certain things that they do throughout the day. the things that um, how they would react. It doesn't have to be directly with that person, but it could be reacting to other things, um, like reacting to stress and how they do that. Um, because the person that cheats like has a conscience or has their conscience that they do it and they did it. So that's already like there's different ways of getting betrayed, and she talks about how cheating's like kind of in the spotlight for like one of the core things that kind of indicate betrayal in those parts of the in a relationship. So then it went to like the team players of like these people, and again it could be different, and it isn't like um these are the ones that she mentioned. So the ones that she was mentioning were in different areas, different spectrums, because she was saying you can't just clearly see a cheater because sometimes it's somebody that you least expect to do it. And so, um, like she goes into the more obvious ones and maybe the reasons why. And um, it could be a person that hates their family life but wants to keep their family together. So they have like a person like on the side to make themselves feel a little, in a way, better for them. And from that, it makes it a little more tolerable to stay in a relationship that they don't want to be in, but they want to keep the family together. Um, there's a person that seems really unlikely that loves their relationship and may have gone off and to like a teaching convention or something and got drunk and started getting like flirtatious with somebody else, and all of a sudden they did what they did, and not saying that it wasn't there's any excuse for it, but it happens. And then they get home, and then the partner doesn't expect wouldn't expect anything because of they love each other in that way. And she also goes into saying how dangerous like I love you is, like, because it is every person has like a different definition for it. Um, and so, because one example, like if she was saying, like if you ask a narcissist, like, how do they define them saying that? Like, why do you love me? Or defining I love you, and then saying, what are you talking about? Like, wasn't it good enough that I just said I love you? Like, why do I have to give you an explanation? Type of response. So other times it's and with that and saying I love you and having a different definition of I love you, or not having a clear definition of why you love somebody or what love is, can also be a reason why people do the things that they do. And just to say that it's personalities are far from being surface level. There's so much that is that goes on there. But I know I'm going all over the place with this, but I just thought it was an interesting thing. People that can be addicted to having those types of experiences. Um, and she talks about maybe being addicted to those things, or people that have like online experiences where they say flirtatious things to somebody and then it just continues on being just like an online thing and it kind of gets them aroused like throughout the day or when they need it, and that's what it turns into. Um, and there's also some people that find the excitement of things. So hopefully it's not super all over the place, although I feel like this reading is pretty all over the place, and I'm just hoping that it kind of is something that like people could follow. So I know that one of the like the grandmother energy that watches over the readings, like it feels like she sits down and then she clears the room type of energy, and it seems extra strong today. Because I also saw something else. Because it felt like it was another grandmother energy, but linked to my godfather, because his mother used to live here, and that was up there. So um, I feel like the grandmother energy that clears that clears the space really tries to make sure that I'm able to get things going. So it does feel like there is immense movement because you have the energy of the Four of Wands, and the Four of Wands seems like being tied to somebody in. And now it makes me think, could it be that this King of Wands that showed up in other readings, that because it seemed like there's a past energy that has something, like it could be that cross paths with somebody else and somehow they are somehow destined in some way to do something, that comes together because there's the Ten of Cups. And that one looks like, even though it's cups and not pentacles, like a family tree. And it feels a little bit like happy wife, happy life. It's just a saying. Of course, you don't have to take it so literally. Because you also have death in the Six of Wands. And then there was also the Ten of Swords and how to overcome the obstacle, the Seven of Cups. The Seven of Cups, I feel like that was, since that was the obstacle, the Ten of Swords is saying that this isn't a time to like keep dilly-dallying on the same thing. Um, there has to be things that have to go at this point. And that could be with that self-discipline too. Because the death feels like it closes out a chapter and then it moves forward. There's something about a person or it could be the group energy that gets really happy or even um sees them in like in a loving way, like in the crowd, like cheering them on because that just feels like a healthy dynamic between the two with the Four of Wands and even the Six of Wands and the Ten of Cups because it does seem like there is like a couple energy there. And in the past with the Queen of Wands. So with the Six of Wands, it was almost like there was a departure and then coming back in a way because it looks like people that have left town and then they have like a warm welcome when they come back. And even with the Five of Swords too. Um, it seems that the lines or the paths have crossed in that way. And there's also the Chariot card, which is another major arcana. Because the Death is a major arcana, and the Moon. And the Chariot is divine guidance too, because it does have an angel riding a chariot with the two horses. And because I was talking about paths aligning or paths, like, or people meeting and crossing paths, it feels like that really depicts the horses in the image. Also being yin and yang, and with the Two of Cups, there is that flowing of energy there too. That things kind of just fall into place. So let me just pull out a couple more cards. And it feels like energy of letting somebody into your world in a way because they got you in a way where other people didn't understand, or you didn't need to offer an explanation of how of or why you did something. I mean, it's good to have clear communication, but it's where they kind of get you. And with the cactus or cacti here, looks like some of the background too, with the Three of Wands, it kind of feels like energy of like that person is a cactus and doesn't let anybody in until like this time, where it was, say it's like my world, their world, and or the other, like the rest of the world, and then the few people that could actually cross into my world, because most people just don't understand, and that's okay that they're not going to have that dynamic with you. And it's really nice. Like, this is actually impressive for me because, sorry, show these cards and then I think I'll end the reading. Or maybe I'll pull out an oracle card. Because with these two cards, it's the Queen of Cups, and then underneath is the Knight of Swords. And with this specific knight, this knight, he doesn't really dilly-dally, and then he's one to, if he wants something, he's gonna go for it. So it's unusual because this is like, well, this is an air sign, and it kind of trickles a little bit, well, based off of characteristics that this person is led with his heart. So using like his heart in mind, his or her. And it's linked to the Queen of Cups. So the Knight of Swords is also pretty vocal too, so I wouldn't be surprised if he said anything to the Queen of Cups. And maybe the Queen of Cups is showing up like that because she might be more emotionally aware than he is. Maybe he's never really experienced stuff like this. So that could be the one of the biggest things. And then she's also surrounded by cattail, and I mean there's a lot of cattail in this deck, especially like in the water suit, or mainly only in the water suit. Um, so maybe other people are kind of like seeing what will happen because maybe they already know, but then maybe this other person doesn't know, or and it could be like maybe the person knows and then waiting for the other person to actually say something. There's the strength card, and this feels like kind of like the full force energy of, this feels like an energy of like holding your own. And an energy where it feels like you're, like you stand up for yourself. And I was telling my best friend the other day, I was like, they keep pushing me and pushing me and pushing me. Um, and I was being nice, and now I'm still gonna be nice, but I never didn't put my foot down. I know, incorrect. I always put my foot down with that situation, but now, um, I really just need to put my foot down. Kind of getting like the horns in that way. And it kind of reminds me of like when I would work and then, you try to accommodate the patients, um, sometimes like based off of our guidelines of what we can do. We say that we say no to things, and then because we were nice the first time, that I feel like sometimes they try to like slide it in and be like, maybe if I can try to persuade them. And I'm like, no, I was nice to you the first time, and I'm not just giving this answer like I'm pulling it out of my ass. Like, I'm telling you this answer because I'm not going to do that. And I told you I wasn't going to do that. So there's the star card. And with the Knight of Swords, it could have been something like in their surroundings that was holding them back. And it could be even them that they were holding back too, with the knight trying to talk to the queen, because the knight maybe was trying to find a way to like get in the same mindset, be on the same level in that way. So it's air and water. And air and water are pretty compatible, I would say, in general. Again, individual basis with that. The star card, and it's interesting with the star card because it looks like the paths that were once like connected, it diverges, but then since it's the star card, it makes me feel like because the beings are still together in that way, so there might be something where their paths like are starting to align, or there's like a certain point of destiny where it leads them to. Then you have the Nine of Wands. Because the Strength card comes up, it's not surprising that the Nine of Wands comes up. Because it's towards the end, and then you're like, how long am I going to keep doing this? And you also had the Two of Wands at the beginning where it looked like they were making like that shield, or they were making the things that were surrounding this person to offer more protection, more defense, even more time in that way. So when the time comes, like it'll come. So I'll pull out more cards from here. And it's another repeat card. It's Clear Cognizance. Archangel Uriel. Pay attention to thoughts and ideas that come to you as they are answered prayers. So thank you guys so much for watching. Hopefully it wasn't so everywhere. I know I was talking about a couple different things and kind of feeling like I was trying to talk about everything at once. Um, but I'll see you in another video. Bye.